It was a year after the dog was adopted, I was paramedics.
Yep, it's working.
Good evening. Welcome to the City Council Chambers in Marshalltown at 10 West State Street. Today's date's April 14, 2025. Don't forget to pay your taxes tomorrow times 5:30 p.m. I call the meeting to order. With those available and able, join us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Here. Fonseca. Here. Kell. Lottie Hoff.
Here.
Mitchell.
Here.
Nichols.
Here.
Schneider.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Very good. Full house. Item D, public comment. Members of the public may make comments on any item that was not on the agenda during this time. The speaker shall approach the mic, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes unless I authorize more. The speaker shall direct the comments to the mayor and council as a whole. The mayor and councilors may provide response to a public comment, but shall not engage in discussion or debate on the items raised by members of the public, and no action may be taken on them so we can comply with open meetings laws. This is our new proviso, so we don't just have to look at you or smile and hope you'll sit down after you've made a comment or asked a question of the council. If we can answer an easy one, we will. With that said, it is time for the open mic. This is our inaugural night with our new audio-visual checking in computer system, I guess, too. So it'll be interesting to get feedback from others who are watching this remotely. But with that said, the microphone's open.
Hello, Jim Shaw, 522 North 2nd Street. A couple of weeks ago, my fiance donated some items at the Animal Rescue League. I did not go in doing my part to avoid a confrontation. While she was there, she looked at the dogs for adoption. She was shocked at the number of pit bull type dogs. When she returned shaking her head, I asked her if it was a half a dozen. She shook her head no, saying it's a lot. The Animal Rescue League didn't buy these dogs. They were either running loose, abandoned, or surrendered. Abandoned or surrendered probably meant that their owners could no longer control them, and now they're up for adoption again in the city of Marshalltown. They'll probably get adopted because there is a lot of people in town who love intimidating dogs. The reason I'm talking about this today is about Little Rock, Arkansas. There are now restrictions on certain breeds being adopted, and they are banned. This is because there was a case where a pit bull bit somebody a year and a half after it had been adopted from the Little Rock Animal Village. The decision to ban them from the city followed a court's ruling that found the city liable for damages in the pit bull incident, triggering a ban. I know our Animal Rescue League is not a city facility, but a county one. This doesn't change where most of these dogs are adopted to, into our town. I've mentioned this before. There are at least a dozen pit bulls within 5 blocks of where I live. I've had confrontations with 4 of them. My neighbor in her apartment next door to me saw the pit bull from across the street chasing a man down the sidewalk 2 days ago. She said the owner was chasing the dog and did manage to get it stopped. A week ago, my fiance and I went to the dog park and had the window open. And someone with a pit bull was leaving, and it either smelled or saw one of the dogs in my car. It started lunging at my car. We stayed in the car while the owner had his hands full, dragging his pit by the collar to try and get it in his car. If it had got loose, this would have been my 5th incident. This one wouldn't have worked out well, meaning that I would have had to deal with it. And we had to wait and tolerate that dog being drugged to his car before we could get out of ours. Again, the city of Little Rock, Arkansas was found liable for damages.
Anyone else? This is new too. We have a clock apparently that people
there's a
can
clock
see.
here?
Yeah. So 30. You can have us 35 seconds.
Perfect. Jerry Van Sickle, 3316, Patricia Driver, Urbandale, Iowa. Spend most of my summer at 1308 East Olive. I'm the general manager of the Marshalltown Speedway. Just wanted to step in front of the board, the council today, say thank you for everything you do for the city of Marshalltown, and thank you for allowing us to have car racing on Friday nights at the Marshalltown Speedway. With that being said, just give you a little bit of numbers of what our events do. Our first event this year, we saw 196 competitors from 16 different states and Canada that came to Marshalltown, Iowa to race, to spend the weekend. There were actually some teams from Canada that were here for 5 days waiting for the races, spent money in town, spent things like that. Got a great season planned for the year. Hope everybody can make it out. We do invite you to come out, see what we're all about. We try to start our program promptly at 6:30, be done by that 10:30 noise ordinance. We do know that there are some times where we may have an incident where we have a crash, or EMTs have to be used to transport a driver or an individual at the racetrack, but we do try to do our best to make sure to be good stewards to the community and bring revenue into the city, because last year we averaged 127 cars weekly from 6 different states that came here on Friday nights just to race at Marshalltown. So we've got another big event. We've got a lot of big events planned. We've got a Tuesday, May 13th event. We will see drivers. It's a national series. We'll see drivers probably from 15 different states, and probably have 3,000 to 4,000 people on the grounds just on that Tuesday night. So, and they always come in. They spend money in town. They spend lodging. We work with a lot of the local hotels, a lot of the local businesses to make sure that everybody's aware that, hey, tonight, or hey, we're starting our season. Be prepared, because people are coming to town, and be prepared for them. And that's what we want to do, is help bring people to Marshalltown, help bring them to the community, be good stewards, be good neighbors to our neighbors out there at the fairgrounds that do hear the noise over there in the 4th Ward. And we do our best to make sure that we do that. So does council have any questions for what we have this summer?
Any questions or comments up here?
Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I am good. Can you name a state that hasn't raced at the Marshalltown Speedway?
Hawaii, Alaska. Those are the two that come off there, but
Yeah.
Marshalltown Speedway has become a destination racetrack. Marshalltown's become, for racers, over the last 5 years, because of our streaming, because of the racing we put on. It's a bucket list track for a lot of racers and fans. So Marshalltown is on the map in our racing community, and also places to come and be attending at.
Okay. And the Marshalltown Speedway, I know my father-in-law, late Cliff Chambers, he helped build the track there in 1962, I believe. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, 64 would have been the...
64?
Yeah, 64 would have been the first
Yeah.
season. So we're starting our 62nd year of racing. And Marshalltown Speedway is the longest sanctioned IMCA track since 1983. And it is one of the longest continuing race programs in the state of Iowa. A lot of racetracks come and go. Marshalltown Speedway has been very steady for 62 years of making sure it keeps the doors open and the racing community alive here in town.
Right. I know that Cliff said that, they put the track way out where there wasn't hardly any houses or anything like that, because they brought it up from East Main Street when a business moved in. So you guys have been 61 continuous years, every single year.
Yes.
I believe. Thank you.
You're
If we
welcome.
take that old hospital down, we could move it back to East Main Street. The first time I was on council, I got a complaint from one of the owners near there. And so I had to do a little research and found out, at that time it was one of the people at the county fair that was chairing the county fair board, who gave me the figures on just how much money came into the Marshalltown on a weekend when the races were happening. And then I learned that, people built or bought their homes out there after it had been in place, and so.
Yeah, if you look at the aerial view from 64, there was nothing out there. And we actually have had families move from, I know of at least, well, one is a city employee that moved from California to Marshalltown so he could, wanted to better himself, from moving from California to the Midwest, not only with his personal life, but he was able to race a lot more. So that was their choice of coming to Marshalltown, because they enjoyed when they traveled from California once a year, being in Marshalltown, and then now has found himself as a city employee for the last 3 years here in town.
Interesting. Wow. Any other comments up here? Okay. Thank you for that
Perfect.
report.
Thank you for all your time and everything you do for the city.
Mic is still open if anybody else would like to speak tonight.
Okay. So, hello, my name is Marco Yepes Gomez from 11 North 6th Street. I want to speak in support of a proposed rezoning process of the 3 parcels on Center Street from residential to mixed use found on the consent agenda. I believe this change could improve our city's flexibility and attractiveness to developers. That said, I'd like to raise a few concerns that I hope you'll consider. While I supported the demolition of the city-owned parcels due to their poor conditions last meeting, I recognize that vote has passed. However, that decision seems to have carried risk. According to the memo, a serious potential bidder has expressed interest in developing commercially on our city-owned parcels. For context, there is a middle parcel that is privately owned. With this rezoning, the value of that middle property of 1917 South Center Street would increase significantly beyond its current $60,000 market estimate. That could put an entire redevelopment effort in jeopardy if the interested party can't afford or negotiate for it, leaving us with properties that continue to sit in their current bad conditions. During the demolishing bidding vote, I followed up about the idea of placing stipulations on the parcels before bidding and hope that we take that idea serious. They're critical too for protecting public interest and ensuring progress actually happens with these 2 poorly maintained parcels. I think the best process for these types of city-owned properties is to demolish them, rezone them to the generous kind, purchase any property that makes sense, and then bid them out in a package with stipulations. As I mentioned in the previous meetings, we now have staff that can help us make this process better. Thank you.
Anyone else? Nobody rushing to the mic. Let's go on to the consent agenda. I skipped over the council administrator and mayor comments. Anybody like to make any?
I'd like to make a comment. So I have a different view on the zoning. I'm pleased that that's going forward. There has been discussion with the property owner that is in the middle that isn't condemned. And I just think this is a positive position so a developer can come in, development. We don't have the cost of the approximately $50,000 to demolish it, but I agree with you that it needs to have stipulations and restrictions so that we don't get stuck with decaying property there forever. So with that, I'm pleased with this, both because it saves the city a significant amount of money and gives an opportunity for development in Marshalltown.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Your Honor, if I may.
Sure.
I'm here to tell everybody that I was wrong this week.
I'm a notary if it helps.
Yeah. So somebody asked me when they start working on Main Street if they would uncover the trolley tracks. And I said, no, I'm sure the trolley tracks are gone. I said the ties may still be there. But last night when I was out on my walk, I stopped in front of Zamora's. And sure enough, there's the trolley tracks. It made my day. So you could see, so I would say if anybody wants to go see a piece of history, you can see some pieces that they hit and dug up, and then you can see the stubs under the part of the street that they haven't dug up yet, but that'll be the next phase. So for those of you that don't know, you can research and find out that yes, we did have trolleys that ran. And if I remember right, they went all the way down Main Street to the Veterans Home, and I think I think they might have went down to the park on 3rd Avenue. Yeah, at the cemetery down there, and yeah. So it's kind of neat to look back at some of that old stuff. But the big news is I was wrong, and I admitted it. So don't hate me.
Anyone else? You may.
Yes, this weekend of Sunday, I was out working in the yard, and there was 2 young ladies from the Franklin School. I think they were 2nd graders. I was joking with them about helping me move some wood chips. And one of them come back over and she says, we'll help you because we're on the good news team. So kudos go out to the staff over there at Franklin and helping these young ladies become excellent citizens and helping neighbors out.
Thank you. Anybody else? Carol? Anything? Okay. I did get a call after the construction started and somebody posted on social media from a person connected with the Lincoln Highway asking if any of the bricks were being saved or not. And she thought she might actually come to the meeting tonight. So I'm curious if anybody is here from that Lincoln Highway project? Okay.
Your Honor, if you give them my number, I can put them in touch with possibly getting some bricks.
Okay. Very good. If they call again, I suggested they call Heather actually, so Heather could probably answer that question. Lincoln Highway folks get in touch with you about bricks being torn up from, okay, very good. Gary says you could have her contact him. He probably has been hoarding the bricks. Are you keeping them in your backyard, Gary? The garden's fine, sorry. Okay. No, okay, good. All right, I don't have any other comments, so let's go on to see if anybody wants to move to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Second.
Roll call.
Thompson?
Yes?
Fonseca? Yes. Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell? Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Very good, that carried, and now is the time where we were skipping reading the 14. I see we're back to uppercase, by the way. Let's go on to motions. We'll just have one of those.
Motion to approve a new retail tobacco license for mobile sales with Cave Cigar Experience.
Entertain a motion first,
For approval.
Second.
and discussion.
Yes, Your Honor. The state is now offering mobile licensing for tobacco sales. So we have a new application from the Cave Cigar Experience. They would be providing mobile sales of cigars and be attending vendor shows and different events for those sales. We do have the owner, I believe, here. If you'd like to introduce himself, you're welcome to.
Sure.
Thank you for your time today. My name is DJ Wilder, been a lifelong resident of Marshalltown, currently at 812 West Nevada Street. Become a big cigar aficionado over the last 18 to 24 months, and this is something that I've kind of always wanted to get into. I think eventually what I want to build into is having a cigar lounge where someone can enjoy a nice cigar 20 or 12 months out of the year instead of only when it's nice outside and be outside. But it's going to start with this mobile unit because I just want to see what the market would be like in Marshalltown. So started with the premise of a mobile service. Started talking to some golf tournaments that are local, if they would be willing to have a cigar vendor there while they're having the golf tournament, and kind of grow it into some other things from there. So I'd be interested to see what we can do, and I appreciate your time taking into consideration and considering this for me. So thank you.
Any questions or comments? Discussion by the public? Roll call.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca? Yes.
Smoke them if you got them. That carried. On to resolution, H, resolutions. What's our first one?
Resolution approving a 28-year agreement with the YMCA YWCA for the Water Plaza to be partially located on Y property.
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second.
Is there a second? All right. Any discussion about this one?
Happy to answer any questions if council has any.
I don't think so. Yeah, it's been kind of a long-standing thing that we've had going with the Y. So, any public comment, though? Roll call.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
That carried. And our next one is a public hearing.
Public hearing and resolution to approve the 5-year capital improvement plan.
All right, the public hearing is open at 5:50 PM, and I ask for staff review. This is a new order.
Yes, so this is the capital improvement plan. The council has seen it, and the public also, I think, over several meetings. The documents that are in your packet for tonight are the details of each capital project that's included in the 5-year plan. If council has any questions about any of the capital projects, we can, make our best attempt to answer those. Other than that, there haven't been any changes in the CIP since you saw it last.
Are there any, well, let's see, actually, we go to, has the clerk received any written comments?
No, Your Honor.
And now we open it for public comment, if any, on this one. And seeing nobody jumping up to run up to the mic, I'll declare the meeting is closed the public hearing is closed at 5:51 PM. And do we solicit any action by the council at this point?
Move to approve the resolution, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Fonseca?
I don't think we've already had the discussion.
Fonseca? Yes. Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not getting used to that one. That's counterintuitive since we, oh, well. No, that is not. Yeah, that would be the time. Okay. I'll have to get used to that. It's a little bit like remembering that we talk have the public mic at the start. All right, on our next item.
Public hearing and resolution approving plan specification, form of contract, and cost for the 2025 PCC patch repair project in the city of Marshalltown, Iowa, being project number STR 23002.
And I'll declare this public hearing, now that the clerk has read the title, is open at 5:52 PM and ask for staff review. Heather.
Good evening, Heather Thomas, Public Works. This project that's currently out for bid right now is to repair different areas that have concrete street with full-depth concrete patches. The probable cost on this is $460,000. Bids are due April 23rd. We'll be considering them at our next city council meeting. The completion date on this is October of this year. And let's talk a little bit about impacts to traffic. So the areas that we have patches as part of this project include West Lincoln Way, South 12th Ave, East Main Street, and South 18th Ave. As we talk about impacts to traffic, there's only one location that's going to require a full closure. That's on Lincoln Way there by Lincoln Tower Circle. So during that, we will have the detour that we had this past year when we did a bunch of clearing in that area, Highland Acres Road, Iowa Ave East, and 18th Ave for that. The remainder of the patches are all going to be able to keep some amount of traffic open. 2-lane roads such as Lincoln Way and East Main Street, we're going to have temporary traffic signals up so that we can keep 1 lane of traffic going in each direction. On the 3-lane and 4-lane roads, including 12th Ave and 18th Ave, we're going to allow them to close 1 or 2 lanes at a time as long as they can keep 2 opposing lanes of traffic open in each direction. With that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Let's see, actually, next I ask if any written comments were sent to the clerk.
No, Your Honor.
And now we open it for public comment. Not seeing any, then we close the public hearing at 5:53 PM, but now I'm supposed to solicit council member discussion and action on item if needed. Any council comments on this one? I'm kind of curious in terms of the one on Lincoln Way. Is it in that circle itself, or is it on the main Lincoln Way?
It's on the main Lincoln Way. Okay. Yep, right at the transition where they previously had a project that stopped in town and out of town.
Any idea how, if we're going to block both directions, any idea how long this one's likely to take?
I would guess it'd be a couple weeks.
Comments up here?
Yay.
Well, save that for the motion and second. Is there a motion to approve it?
I so move.
Thank you. Is there a second? And now roll call, and you can say yes or yay.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca?
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lotihoff,
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. On to ordinances, just one of those.
sorry, just one moment.
I don't give you time to check off the vote first. I could read it myself too, actually, except it's shouting and you know me.
Okay. Public hearing and first reading of ordinance 15099 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa, Chapter 156, zoning maximum fence height for the major utility uses and utilization of barbed wire with major utility uses.
Well, I guess since it's a public hearing, I need to open that at 5:55 PM and ask for public comment first.
Staff review.
It's not, oh, on the first reading, you don't. Okay. Yep. All right. Yep. Staff review.
Good evening. Clayton Ender, Assistant Director, Community Development. ITC Midwest LLC has submitted a request to amend the zoning text to allow for barbed wire cradles to face both inward and outward of a fence line. This is in tandem with a new electric substation they are preparing to construct on the east side of town. At present, the barbed wire is only allowed to in our GI, General Industrial Zoning District, facing inward on a fence line. This presents a bit of a challenge for a major utility, which is critical infrastructure. And there is a spotlight that was put out by the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, which is with the Department of Homeland Security, which talks about various security measures that could be implemented at critical infrastructure. Barbed wire would fall within the categories of their deter and delay, to really just make it more difficult and less attractive for someone to enter into a facility. So specifically within this text amendment, we address fence height. At present, fence height is regulated based on the zoning district which you're in. However, our major utilities are not isolated to only our general industrial district. They are spread throughout our community. So it is proposed to create a new category of fence height that would apply only to major utilities in all zoning districts, allowing for up to 10-foot maximum fence height there. Regarding barbed wire cradles in the general industrial zoning district, major utilities would be allowed to have barbed wire both inward and outward. All other uses would be inward only. That's consistent with what we currently have, so the change is just for major utilities. That would be just subject to building permit within the general industrial district. And outside the general industrial district, so all other zoning districts, major utility uses would be allowed to have barbed wire cradles inward and outward, subject to special use permit, so that there is a higher level of review. These are locations that people may not be expecting to find barbed wire, such as a residential neighborhood, but there still is a need for security measures at these installations. There is also a provision that barbed wire would have to be at least 6 foot above adjacent grade to try to avoid any hazard to persons. It still provides that deterrence up high, but it shouldn't impact people that are actually walking adjacent to it, to the barbed wire. This has been reviewed by Planning and Zoning Commission. They have recommended approval. We do have representatives of the applicant in the audience this evening, and they have requested that the council waive second and third readings. Staff is recommending that we waive those so that they can get going on their construction project. Considering that this amendment is limited to just major utilities and there's really a limited impact here, staff believes it's appropriate to waive second and third readings. With that, I'll wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments up here, though? Any public questions or comments about that one? I'd like to thank you and the Planning and Zoning for doing the same kind of work on the in-ground solar things and the way that we were able, as I understand it, the McFarland Clinic has now been able to order the materials to get that process going and save them a lot of money. And
That is correct. They have been able to get ordered. They got all their necessary permits.
Great. Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, let's vote first on if somebody wants to move to approve this ordinance change.
I so move.
I was supposed to close the public hearing. Thank you. I'm glad you're too far away to kick me. The public hearing closed at 5:59 PM. Now I go back to my sheet. Okay, now it's solicit comment from council, discussion on the action item if needed. I did hear a motion in a second, if you got those.
Yes, I have
Well, let's-
Nichols and Mitchell.
There you go. Let's just see who wants to vote how.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca? Yes. Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff? Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Anybody want to stick their neck out and suggest that we move to waive the second and third reading? It's not much of a stick.
I move to approve.
And I will second.
It's non-debatable. Roll call.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca? Yes. Kell?
Yes.
Carried. Very good. Thanks for the work, Clayton. All right, on to discussion. What's our first item?
Proposed cost share with the Marshalltown Community School District regarding improvements to stormwater pipe under Franklin Field.
Yes, Your Honor. So this item relates to, as part of the Reimagine Miller project, there are some stormwater infrastructure improvements that need to be made under Franklin Field. It's a, the school district has been concerned because of the age of the pipe and the shallowness, the shallow depth at which it is located. Their replacement of the pipe also benefits the city in that this pipe is over 100 years old, and it gives us an opportunity to replace it with reinforced concrete pipe. And so the proposal is that we split the cost of the improvement 50/50. There are adequate funds in the Stormwater Enterprise Fund to fund the expense on the city side, which is $131,180.
Thank you. Let's go with discussion up here first, I guess.
Your Honor, if I may.
Okay.
This is a good idea. Any chance that we get to replace some of our infrastructure that's saddle really needs to be done just like on Main Street and trying to get it done before you put something really nice on top of it? And before you put something really nice on top of it, and then you have problems underneath and you got to dig it up. So this is a good opportunity to do so. And since we have the funding, I think we ought to go ahead and do it.
Any other reactions up here? Seeing heads nodding affirmatively. How about the public comment? Seeing heads nodding affirmatively there too?
So I just had a question. So Marco Yepes Gomez, 11 North 6th Street. So totally support this. But I did have the question that, since the north side is older than other areas in town, I was just wondering, how many pipes of these exist in the north side that are over 100 years old that probably need replacing? And just wondering if there's other pipes out there. Yeah, thank you.
I can answer it about 420 Hughes Street, because this last year we had to replace it from the middle of the street to our house. Buy that insurance that is really cheap if that happens to you. It saved us, I think, $5,000 or $6,000, and I think it costs us $64 a year. It's crazy good to have that. But house was built in 1919, 1920, and yeah, we're on the north side. It's got some old stuff under the streets.
Is there a number, though, in terms of miles?
I'll bet Heather.
probably is.
Heather probably could figure that out, but
I would say in general, we have older pipes in our system. We generally don't just go and replace them if they're in good condition. This particular project gives an opportunity to do that at half the cost. So this is a little bit of a unique situation. But yeah, we definitely have older pipes in the system.
And I can't keep my mouth shut about this Franklin Field project. It's going to be cool. It really is. It was a neat historical piece of ground here, and it's going to be brought back to its original splendor. We still were the first broadcast football game in the country from there. It's just going to be neat. All right. Well, I think for staff direction. You can only screw it up now, Aaron.
I noticed he was hesitating a little.
I wasn't quite sure. I didn't see all the nods, but Theron Schutte, school superintendent, resident, 507 Craig Circle. Yeah, this is one of those unexpected expenditures as we were digging in and working with the city on how to refurbish what is an iconic facility. Most probably know that it served as Marshalltown High School's football and track field from October of 1922, I believe, until 1980, when football then moved out to the high school. Continues or has continued to serve Miller Junior High School and Miller Middle School well as far as football was concerned until recent. And it's long overdue for a significant overhaul. The two unknowns that we ran into, one was the DNR is requiring about $750,000 worth of dirt to be put on the facility since it does lie in a floodplain despite not ever knowing it ever to flood, at least where the field is there and where the track is, but we need to do that. And then, of course, the storm sewer pipe was another significant expenditure on top of everything else, but we're super excited about the project. Would love to have, hopefully, the city partner on the small piece of the project, and we're real close to getting things underway. It'll be full construction once school lets out, but they'll be starting things probably in a couple weeks. The other thing I'm real excited about, there's a lot of local involvement with contractors and subcontractors on that project too, which will make it even extra special. If there are any technical questions, Adam Daters is here from Clapsaddle Garber. He'd be more than happy to answer, or I'm sure Heather could as well.
Very good. Thank you. That neighborhood has sure had a resurgence since we moved here in 1986, really, with Franklin School itself. I know the Gerviches were instrumental in getting that building brought up to code and fixed up, and then the 13th Street project, which is bringing a lot of people in, kind of like the racetrack. This summer, there will be a huge event down there with our new park and 13th Street. So this will just kind of be the crowning glory in that neighborhood. Anybody else like to speak about it, though? Good enough. Well, let's go on to lease agreements.
Okay, so the city.
Staff need formal direction on that one?
I think they got it, didn't they? We can solicit a motion if.
Yeah, well, maybe it would be good. I'm assuming the direction is to develop an agreement to bring back for your approval. Is that?
Yeah, if there's no objection to it, let's just have the minutes reflect that there was a consensus that way.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
So a number of issues have come up recently about a number of lease agreements the city has with various organizations. Some are nonprofits, clubs, those kinds of things, and there's quite a long list of them. I think I included them in the packet for council. The questions that have come up are kind of about how we establish the lease rate. Some of the lease rates are pretty low, like $1 a year, and some are higher, more toward like a market rate. And then the lease terms are different too. Some are very short, some are basically in perpetuity. And so we've received some guidance from our legal counsel that we should take a deeper dive into this, into the agreements and look at the criteria by which we establish how the lease agreement terms are determined. That would be sort of a process, and I think what I'm asking of the council or the mayor is to have 2 volunteers from the council to dig deeper into this item with myself and Steve Leidinger, and make some recommendations and come back to council with those recommendations about how we'll deal with these lease agreements going forward. So that's my request for this evening.
Your Honor, if I may?
May.
Carol, is legal saying just review and set a policy moving forward? I mean, Steve's not advocating that we're in a position to break some of these great leases that people have, right?
That hasn't come up to
Okay.
break the lease. I think a couple were up for renewal, so that was a good time to talk about this kind of thing, but we haven't talked about breaking the lease in the middle of the term, yeah.
Any idea how many there are?
There's a list. There's quite a few. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember the number.
No, the last time I solicited help and Greg volunteered to co-chair the NEAT committee, I told him it would end by November and you're still working.
I don't anticipate it going that. We do have a couple of clubs, groups that are waiting on a renewal of the lease. I've extended these leases administratively until such time as we have some recommendations, but I want to be timely in it because we've got some that are pending right now.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I would nominate Counselor Fonseca and Counselor Mitchell.
That's nice of you.
Well, has either one had military experience to know that you never volunteer? You just take two steps back? Well, let's do it this way since nobody is volunteering
Joe,
now.
a second. I would be willing to volunteer and not volunteer somebody.
Okay, well, I've got one volunteer. If nobody else speaks up tonight, I'll,
Your Honor, I would volunteer for that.
very good. Okay, thank you. Gentlemen, all right? We
Okay,
got that
sounds
handled.
great. Thank you.
Okay, now we got to evict all these people, right? For the closed session, folks. Thanks for coming. But we do have items to go in the closed session, and I think it's not too early to read the reason for it. We'll solicit a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 21.5 to discuss purchase or sale of real estate. Premature disclosure could reasonably be expected to increase the price or lower the price depending on which side we're on. We haven't